Welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. Of course, I'm joined by the man dancing behind the ones and twos, the one and only Damon Dog. What a big night. What a big night for this guy. This guy saw Marvin Harrison Jr. throw out the first pitch to Geraldo Perdomo and also heard Torey Lovullo say the words "hold the line" 3 times in a row. That's an incredible feat. But also another incredible feat is the fact the Diamondbacks beat the Angels tonight by a score of 11-1, and they take this series 2-3, and 2 out of 3, I should say. And of course, yes, the Diamondbacks, as Daniel says there, they are in fact a wagon. They are once again on a roll, and let's see what they can do against some of these weak teams. Of course, Ski, again to you all, welcome in. I am here in Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. I'm going to grab some snacks here at any point, but head on down to Circle K, any Circle K Arizona location, where you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Make sure to grab me one too. I would love one right now. That's on sale now through September 3rd. But Diamondbacks, they're feasting, they're snacking, they're eating. It was another feast night when you talk about this offense being feast or famine. Definitely on the feast side of things tonight, as the Diamondbacks were able to score 11 runs tonight. Christian Walker, the man of the match, hits 2 bombs tonight. Joc Pederson hits a grand slam that seemed completely unnecessary late in the game, but hey, it was fantastic. Corbin Carroll, he looked back, but he somehow went 0 for 4 and was twice robbed of extra base hits on some pretty great plays by Angels outfielders.
Story of his season, right?
Oh, tonight was disgusting, especially with the way things were going for this team, because the vibes were immaculate. We had the Arizona Cardinals there before the game. Everything felt very, very good. There was a lot of excitement at Chase Field tonight, and the offense that was just flowing. Right. The offense was absolutely flowing. And then you have Corbin Carroll, unfortunately, have a night like he had tonight, where it looked like every single one of his hits were hits. Damon and I were watching a foul ball that they didn't even bother to pan away to that looked like it was a home run right off of his bat.
I thought it was going 500 feet.
Yeah, I mean, but the offense just absolutely dominated tonight. It was incredible. You had the 3-run first inning, which gave them an early lead and essentially gave Brandon Pfaadt in this bullpen enough run support for them to just take it based on that. Cattell doubled, Joc walks, and Christian Walker hits the first of his 2 home runs tonight. That was a 3-run bomb. Then he hit a monster home run in his next at bat in the 3rd inning. That one was a solo shot, giving him his 2 bombs. And Christian Walker does appear to indeed be back to his powerful ways at the plate. You know what he does at Chase Field. You've heard the lyrics to the song, but this team just absolutely rolled tonight against the Angels. And I mean, the only thing that causes me to hesitate is the fact that we've seen them do this before and not have it, translate over to them continuing to stay on a roll. That's very much what they need to do here with the Chicago White Sox coming here to town. Their starting pitching is actually quite good, but everything else about that team is absolutely terrible. But yes, Zona Tucson 93, this was absolutely a great game. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. Elise said last night was famine. It was painful in person. Well, we know who to blame that loss on. RDO video says the Joc knock grand slam was fire. It was absolutely fire. It was an electric grand slam that, I mean, Joc, what more can you say about Joc? What more can you say about what the Diamondbacks are getting out of the duo of Joc Pederson?
You know,
and
the thing
Randall
I love
Grichuk?
about Joc in particular is I feel like more than anyone on this team, when the bases are loaded in a situation like that, Joc's going up there like, I'm going to hit a fucking grand slam.
Yeah.
Like I'm swinging for the fences. I'm gonna hit a grand slam right now. This game's over.
You almost see
Whereas
him,
like every player on this team,
I feel like a different approach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Every player on this team is being a little bit more passive. You throw me a strike, come to me in that situation. Joc's like, I'm swinging at the first pitch.
Yeah. Or trying to walk a run in or something of the sort where Joc is going up there. He's being aggressive and he's getting results. He had 5 RBI tonight. He went 2 for 4, scored 2 runs himself. Joc's now hitting .286 with an .887 OPS. Ketel Marte still continues to be very good. But again, this was a series where Ketel wasn't at his best, and the Diamondbacks didn't need him to win the series because they got some pretty substantial production from the rest of their lineup. And I mean, that's something that is good to see right now, and hopefully this can blossom into them carrying over. Kevin Newman, another guy that just continues to quietly do it. He was 3 for 4 again tonight. I feel like we have a lot of nights where we say that about Kevin Newman, that he was 3 for 4, or that he quietly had a great night.
He's just a winner.
He's just a winner, and he has a fire walk-up song, and we know that. But the big story, of course, was Brandon Pfaadt. How was Brandon Pfaadt going to come out tonight? He didn't really look sharp early, but he got dialed in, and eventually we started to see Brandon Pfaadt get on track and be fairly consistent in this game. His sweeper started working. He got 14 whiffs tonight, and 7 of those whiffs were on his sweeper. Torey Lovullo let him hang in there. He threw 103 pitches. He was close to being, quality, another quality start, or he actually did get the quality start. He ends up going 6 innings pitched. He gives up 6 hits, gave up the 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. And man, again, exactly what we needed to see out of Brandon Pfaadt. It's something that we needed to see from this starting rotation. I'm sure a lot of you saw our tweet about the current ERAs for the Diamondbacks starting pitchers, and things don't look very good right now, right? But again, that's not the actual starting rotation. I look, most of the time I don't really go after people for the fire Torey and fire Mike Hazen tweets, but someone had to say fire Mike Hazen underneath that graph or that information, and I wasn't having any of it, so I dropped one of my. I've been saving that little video with the guy singing the song about the thing being stupid for a very long time.
You should sing it for everybody.
Oh man, it says congratulations. That was the stupidest thing that I've seen anyone post on the internet before, and then it goes into a little dance and stuff. It's great, and I waited, like I said, a very long time. I've hesitated. I wanted to pull the trigger on that before, but I held back, and I held the line, if you will, and I used it at a very appropriate time. But again, big game Brandon, 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned, 3 walks, 8K. Great night for Brandon. Yeah, there you go. Drop a like just for our guy Marv.
You know what HTL stands for now these days?
I know what it does, what it stands for.
Hit the like.
Hit the like. Yeah, and hold the line. And we just need a shirt with both him. Well, I don't know. Probably contractually can't get him on that shirt, but
I don't know. Maybe you're best friends with him now. You might just be able to ask him.
Yeah, I was out there watching Marvin Harrison Jr. just casually tossing around a ball. By the way, the man probably threw as many pitches tonight as Brandon Pfaadt. I think I saw him at least throw the ball 103 times because he was warming up. Told me that he did not want to, mess this up. He definitely he was very shocked to find out once they started moving him and Darius Robinson apart. He started to realize what the actual distance was from the mound to the catcher, and I think he started to get a little intimidated, but no need. He threw an absolute strike, and it was great to see him out there. It was great to see all the Cardinals rookies out there. All those guys are. It's super exciting time for that franchise, and it was great to see them out here, just kind of mingling. Torey had a chance to talk to the guys and gave them some, a welcome to the Valley and such. But it was a great night. A great night to be a Cardinals fan. Great night to be a fan of the Valley, and of course the Diamondbacks knew those guys were in the house, and they did not want to let them down. They did not want to. You can't look weak in front of the Cardinals, right? You got to step up. So they did, and the final score
definitely not in front of Marvin.
Yeah, that's a generational talent. You don't do something like, I don't know, airmail a ball that you have a chance to throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. And just completely blow that opportunity. And we'll get to that. But of course, we do want to give out our king snake because this man deserves all of your bourbon. He deserves all of your finest meats and cheeses. And it was Christian Walker with his 2 home run night, 4 RBI, hitting the guns on the way around. I like this little hang loose thing that they're doing. I like that much better than the locking the mouth and throwing the key away. I wasn't huge on that, but I like the hanging loose because that right now, that's what this team needs to do. They need to chill the fuck out and they need to hang loose. And yeah, that was great. Elise said Darius Robinson made everyone he took a picture with look so small. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because there was one point where I needed to like use my, tripod and get up higher over some of the other cameramen and journalists. And I realized when I looked back at my video that it was like I was just at eye level with Darius at that point when I went up and held my arm up in the air like that. But I mean, since we're talking about it, I think that it's time for us to throw a little shade at me, Damon. That's probably the right call. Let's do that. Derek Montilla, you son of a bitch. You had the opportunity to play catch with a generational talent in Marvin Harrison Jr. You had an opportunity to go pick a baseball up. For some reason, the Cardinals' entire team only had one single baseball to play with, and that one got past him and went to the backstop. I didn't want him looking like a chump. I didn't want him to go have to walk all the way over there and pick it up. I wasn't going to let that happen. So I took it upon myself to go get that baseball for them so they could continue having a catch. And instead, what did I do? I not wanting to look weak, not wanting to look bad in front of this man, I just absolutely sailed a baseball over his head. What did he do? He jumped up in the air in an attempt to catch it. Could you imagine if something bad would have happened to him at that moment? My God, I wouldn't have been able to show my face in this town ever again. And what? I get an opportunity to throw a baseball on a baseball field in front of fans to a member of the Arizona Cardinals who is in fact a wide receiver, and I blew it? Derek, you should be ashamed of yourself.
You pissed down your leg.
Yeah, I really did. Oh, that was bad. But anyway, shout out to Shady Rays, by the way, for at least allowing me to hide my eyes while I shame myself. But you should get ready for the season. You should get ready for summer. You should get ready for living here in Arizona with quality shades that are built to last like these. And you can also throw shade when you have your own pair of Shady Rays. So there's a side benefit to that. But Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that doesn't cost nearly the same as some of those quality sunglass companies that they are very comparable to. Of course, they have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And also, if you lose them, if you're like me, you're forgetful, you might sit on them once or twice and break them, lose them at the counter at a place that you stop in to make a payment at. And, like I said, I might be talking from personal experience here. They will absolutely send you a brand new pair of sunglasses, no questions asked. Also, if you buy your Shady Rays online and you do not love them, they will allow you to exchange them or return them worry-free within 30 days. No risk at all. When you shop exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Yeah, I think Elise is saying that mistake is a reason for a recall, Mayor. Probably. I'm not going to argue with that, but I do thank you for being here, Elise. I thank you, Zach, for demanding a special election. I appreciate you for all of your shame here in the chat. Of course, if you have not subscribed to the PHNX YouTube channel yet, do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever our wonderful shows go live. Drop us a like. We always appreciate it when you do. Hit the like button and hold the line. Of course, if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, you didn't see that Marv has stopped by not once but twice tonight, but we do still love you, and we implore you to make sure you're subscribed on the audio podcasting app of your choice. And we also love it if you leave us a review. Those 5-star reviews help us out quite a bit. If you are heading anywhere tonight, by the way, I'm sure there's a Circle K somewhere near you. And if you aren't going anywhere, you can make your plans in the morning and stop by, grab yourself a coffee. Or if you're not a huge coffee fan, you can just grab yourself any size Froster from now until September 8th. You can get that for 79 cents. You can get any size Polar Pop. It's a gigantic cup of delicious liquid beverage that can help you stay hydrated in this ridiculous heat that we're facing here in Arizona. Also, if you join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today, you can get all sorts of other additional coupons and discounts. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. But when you do, you will save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups, and you will save 3 cents off per gallon every day after that. So make sure to stop by Circle K and get yourself something to drink. Get it in you. Damon, I really needed to still talk a little bit about the perfect night that was this night tonight. And I want to say how sad I was that I wasn't with Damon Dog, because when, like I said earlier, when I heard Torey say hold the line 3 times, when I heard that Marvin Harrison Jr. was throwing out the first pitch and that Geraldo Perdomo was the one catching it, a little tear drooped down my eye thinking about, like,
that feels personal.
How is this was like tailor-made?
I didn't know that
for
part.
My producer.
You said Perdomo caught the pitch?
Yes, from Marvin Harrison Jr. I was just sitting there like mystified by this series of events that essentially felt like it was made by a higher being.
Did they hand out like illegal pizza burritos afterwards too? Like, what's going on here?
You're like, was there free margaritas? What was going on here? This isn't great. But of course, what was great was seeing Marvin Harrison Jr. and all those guys out there. Of course, we did get to see him throw out that first pitch. It absolutely was a strike, or at least according to Marv, this is what he had to say about how it felt to go out there on the mound and throw that pitch.
I felt great. I think I definitely threw a strike. Yeah. Probably would have been a home run, but I threw a strike. It was in the strike zone. It's all good, though. How do you feel, man? I feel good. It would have been a ball, but he would have swung, so it would have been all good.
Darius' answer is perfect. It was a ball, but he would have swung, so it was all good. Oh man, it's a great night. But Damon, I just wanted to apologize to you for you not.
Fair enough. I mean, hey, as long as we're getting W's, the Cardinals are getting Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, Perdomo's healthy. You know, able to squat down like that. I'm happy. I'm living.
That's what I was thinking. And honestly, it was a great night to be there. Great night to be a Valley sports fan. Great night to be downtown, right? Mercury were doing their thing as well. I have no idea what the final score is, so I might be totally acting like they won when they didn't. But this was just a really fun night down at the ballpark. And again, encouraging because this, you know, Diamondbacks did not win game 2. They did not get the sweep. And of course, when you see the Diamondbacks lose like they did, it doesn't feel great, right? 8-3. I mean, that game definitely felt like it was more than a 8-3 loss. But Diamondbacks added some runs late. But let's take a look at how they did overall in the series with the count presented by our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. Diamondbacks here outscore the Angels in the series 23-13. Hits, they are out hit by the Angels despite winning 2 out of 3, 31-30. Tonight was a weird game because the Diamondbacks scored 11 runs on 9 hits. And that's just kind of wild. That doesn't really seem right. But they did walk quite a bit. Diamondbacks had 6 walks tonight, so that explains the other base runners. And of course, they did a great job here with runners in scoring position. Not so much in game 2, which they were 0 for 0. In game 2, I actually, not joking about this, took entirely too much time to realize that there was no runners in scoring position listed on MLB.com, and I didn't understand why. And it was because I don't know when the last time I saw that they didn't have a single runner in scoring position for an entire game. But that's how game 2 went for the Diamondbacks. Overall, though, they hit 407 with runners in scoring position. They were definitely very good tonight. They were 4 for 8 tonight. They were 7 for 19 in game 1. So when they got those runners on, they were doing a good job of bringing them in. Angels,
when they're hot, they're hot.
It's ridiculous, right?
When they're hot, really there's ridiculous. 9 guys, it feels like, that are just about to, you know, lace the ball every time they get up to the plate. And when they're cold, like, it might as well be a high school team. It's crazy.
Yeah. Starting pitching ERA is fairly comparable here, 5.40 for the Angels, 6.75 for the Diamondbacks. Not great. I mean, tonight, Brandon Pfaadt was very good, six innings, one earned run, but the real damage here came in game 2. Slade going 3 innings, giving up 7 runs. But the relief pitching ERA, quite a big difference here. 14.05 for the Angels, and yes, that is correct because I double-checked my math 4 times. 1.46 for the Diamondbacks. It's moments like that I need Jesse here because I don't even trust my own math when an ERA comes up as being 14.05. Angels used 3 relievers in 1 inning today, and Piece of Yoshi's absolutely right about that. So, of course, that accounts for quite a bit of that lack of production. But we do have a little bit here coming up here from Torey from Postgame on Christian Walker's big night. But, I mean, this was just one of those games where now you kind of look at this team and I don't know if I'm getting resentful at times when they have these big outings. You want to be happy, right? You want to see them put up 11 runs, hold the opposition to 1, and just be excited about the fact that they had a 10-run victory, double-digit victory tonight. It's maddening, though, that this team is able to do this at times and then just go as completely flat as they do. And again, tonight was another one of those nights where a lot of the production obviously came from 2 guys and guys getting on base. I mean, you had 4 of the 11 runs being RBIs by Christian Walker, 5 of them being by Joc Pederson. So a lot of those runs were scored by those 2 particular individuals. But I mean, it gets frustrating at times, and I can understand at times where you see this team scoring like this and not wondering how it doesn't carry over to them being a bit more consistent offensively.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. It's basically what we've been complaining about all season long when it comes to this team. Like, we know they're good. We know they have talent. We know these are good players. We've seen them play for years and years in the league. Like, outside of, Corbin Carroll, who, only had his 1 season, like, everybody else has pretty much been sustained, success, I guess.
Yeah.
Ketel Marte, Lourdes Gurriel, Christian Walker, Eugenio Suarez. Like, these guys are like big time baseball players, and they just haven't been able to like piece it together. It feels like to me, it feels like when in games like this, it feels like they're putting a big puzzle together and all the pieces are fitting right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have some games where it's like every piece is a different puzzle.
Yeah.
It's just not even the same puzzle.
Mixed your puzzles up and you don't have all of your pieces there. I think that the bullpen has been outrageously good. And when you talk about how good they've been, like Ryan Thompson and, Paul Sewald got into today's game just to get some work in because those guys haven't really been called upon or utilized lately because, again, it's kind of a feast or famine thing lately where they don't really need Paul Sewald to save some of these games because of the lead they had. But I do want to give a shout out to my dog, by the way, Ryan Thompson. We did talk about the cornhole tournament over at Torey's house yesterday a little bit, and that Ryan and his dad won the cornhole tournament. I did get a little bit more information. This is the journalism. This is the investigative reporting that I do versus Jesse's side of things. But I needed to get the full scoop on how the tournament broke down. Apparently, according to Ryan himself, him and his dad were kind of just lucky. They just kind of got through the tournament. Their first round draw was Justin Martinez and his father, who apparently, even though they do not play cornhole, were very, very good at cornhole, which is understandable with the way Justin Martinez is pitching this season. And I saw his dad when he threw out the first pitch. He took this, I think, maybe even more seriously than Marvin Harrison Jr. So that man has an arm as well. According to Ryan Thompson, the only reason why they beat Justin and his dad was because of the 21 rule in cornhole. If you're not familiar, you actually have to hit in cornhole the score of 21 on the nose. But if you score over 21, you have to go back to 11. And apparently this happened to Justin Martinez and his father, not once, but twice, which is what allowed Ryan Thompson and his dad to eventually move past them in the tournament, achieving victory. And he said that basically it was a series of events like this that inexplicably allowed him to get to the final and eventually win. I think it was Kevin Newman and his wife that they beat in the final. But shout out to Tea Time, Ryan Thompson. We also had a great conversation about pro wrestling, and that's always going to happen every single time we talk. But again, the bullpen only allowed 2 earned runs in this series. Abby says J Mart tossing cornhole bags at 100+ miles an hour. Oh man, you love to see it. Yeah, you love to see it. Who said like blackjack? Yes, that's exactly. Yes, like blackjack. You don't go over. Only in blackjack you bust. And in this, you just go back to 11. But it sounded like a great time. And honestly,
this bullpen is kind of carrying us a little bit.
This
and we
bullpen
need
is
it
doing
to.
its job.
Because like when you look at our starting pitching staff, our rotation, I mean, is it the worst rotation in baseball right now?
Possibly.
It could be. So we need
At least Fott lowered his ERA to 4.38, but Fott leads the starting rotation now.
He's the best one by far.
He's the ace.
Yeah, absolutely. And
honestly, Brandon Fott deserves to have a lower ERA than even 4.38. We've talked about
he's been so
some
unlucky.
of his conditional, bad luck and such. But
it sucks when you go into the season thinking Brandon Fott is your 5 and he's your 1. That's the problem. That's the part that's hard to take. And if we're going to keep winning baseball games like this team's been on this run recently, we need this bullpen to continue to pitch like this because we're not going to win any other way. Because we're probably going to need more bullpen games too, especially with the way Slade just pitched. So I don't know. I'm excited about this bullpen. This is pretty much like I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood here, but like this is pretty much I feel like the best bullpen I've ever seen. Like
in
with the
franchise
Diamondbacks
history,
dude, they're so good.
Jesse wrote a great article about this a while ago.
I remember,
honestly.
yeah.
And so that's something that we kind of reference and go back to. But yeah, there is something to be said there about how good this bullpen is and how in franchise history the Diamondbacks really haven't had that. We have talked about Justin Martinez. I think his ERA now is down to 0.40. I want to say.
I think it might be in the 3s.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
No, you could be right. I just don't know what when he pitched last. You're right. He's at 0.38 right now is his ERA, and that leads the team, right? But what's crazy is that the Diamondbacks have 2 other relievers with a sub-1 ERA right now. Ryan Thompson has a 0.96 ERA, and Paul Sewald has a 0.79 ERA. So get out of here with how good this bullpen is. Obviously, we know Kevin Ginkel had his struggles early on, but ever since he got hit by that comebacker, it's like he unplugged and plugged himself back in. He's been really, really good. And I mean, the Diamondbacks have other pieces of this bullpen that have also been fairly good as well. Not to mention, we were talking today about which of these guys, when hopefully these, starting pitchers that the Diamondbacks are missing return from injury, which of these guys the Diamondbacks might hold on to as some bullpen depth and who they might be able to add, what that person might be able to bring to this bullpen as well.
Dude, get me just a stud lefty. Could you imagine?
Well, Tommy Henry's a lefty, right? And I don't know if he's a stud, right? No. You're talking about trade deadline acquisitions, which is another
I mean, you said the bullpen, right?
Yeah, I said the bullpen.
So I'm talking about, like, you look at our bullpen right now, and the horses are Ginkel, J. Mart, Sewald, Ryan Thompson, all righties, right? Mm-hmm. If you can get a lefty that is in that caliber of pitcher, and you got 5 guys like that, that's an unbelievable bullpen.
It really is. It really is. And not to mention the fact that Derek Hall was on Bickley and Murata today and said that the Diamondbacks are already planning on making and taking calls regarding the July 30th trade deadline. He said, quote, "We're looking in all areas, all aspects, just like we did last year. We're going to be very aggressive." And I think that is, once again, that tracks, right? Because that feels like this team, did kind of push their chips in on this season. This team can kind of look it around at the landscape across the National League and see that outside of the Phillies and the Dodgers, no one's that great. And maybe realize that as long as they can stay in the pack and not drop back like a couple of the other teams have, which aren't many, like we've said, it's kind of the Rockies and the Marlins are the only 2 teams that have kind of dropped back completely, and even they're not completely out of it. That's how close the field is right now for the National League. So it very much sounds like, this team is going to continue to try to win and will not, like, barring something drastic happening between now and the end of July, which hopefully should go the otut way, right? With the players that are returning, we should see this team improving slowly. We're going to get Zach Gallen back. According to reports, Merrill Kelly is on track to be back now before Eduardo Rodriguez. And that's encouraging because that means that the Diamondbacks could theoretically get Merrill Kelly back even before the All-Star break. I doubt that's how it will play out. They'll probably allow him to have the extra time due to the break, but we should see both Erod and Merrill Kelly back shortly after the All-Star break. So, this team still has a lot of potential, and I think that the front office knows it, that this record where they're at right now, even though it's not great, is still not a true indicator of what this team, when they're at 100%, truly is. And that's the thing right now. They're 3 games back from being at 500, right? So, we're almost to the point where we're going to show Cattell climbing up the mountain. We're not there yet. I don't know. I lied. Damon, can we show Cattell climbing up the mountain? I just want to see him go up. Let's go, Cattell. That always makes me so happy every single time. But yeah, they're getting there. They're getting close. There's a good chance with 6 more games ahead of them against the White Sox, again, who are giving the Mariners a little bit of trouble themselves, and 3 against the Nationals. This team could be maybe even over 500 by the time that they roll into Philadelphia to play the Phillies, and have that first round of their rematch from the NLCS. So I don't know. I think things are trending in a good direction, and it is very encouraging, I think, to hear, Derek Hall say that. I think that there might be, with the way this season has gone, some people feeling like this team might not be that committed to winning again, or might not be that committed to possibly addressing some of their needs. We know the third base thing is weird. Torey just got done saying one day ago that they were going to try to move in a different direction with Blaze Alexander. And then one day later, here's Gino back in the lineup today playing third base. So Torey has had a tremendous amount of patience with players at times, but that felt a little quick. I'm sure that's not really, I'm sure Torey is probably start going to explore other options, and I'm sure he might start playing Blaze or someone else potentially even at third base based on the situation, based on the matchup. But didn't take him very long to come right back and go right back to Gino. And Gino, again, didn't have a great day today by any stretch of the imagination. But, he did score a run and he walked. He was 0 for 2, but that's Gino. What else do we got here? I think that's all we got. What you got? Anything, Damon?
We talked about you almost destroying Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career already.
I don't like to phrase it that way. I would say that I was having a catch with Marv.
The boys being do. Boys,
correct? Yeah, hanging out, right?
Classic.
And then I got a little excited, as one would when
playing with a superstar,
when playing with a generational talent, and I didn't want to underthrow it. That was what was important.
I just wanted to make sure
I didn't want to spike it in the dirt.
I get it. I just want to make sure that we spent enough time talking about how close to how disastrous.
I threw shade at myself, Damon. I put on sunglasses to yell at myself. Like that's crazy person behavior, and I exhibited it. So I think that I should be forgiven for that. And luckily, we made it out with no major injuries happening at all. But we do have some videos from the clubhouse. We got Torey here talking about playing in another blowout. Here shortly. Well, let me do some ad reads. We'll get back to that here shortly. But of course, one thing we did want to tell you guys, if you haven't joined us over here, become a diehard over at PHNX. I don't know what you're waiting for. It pays for itself. If you want to join us for these wonderful events, you get discounts on all of that. You got all sorts of wonderful things. No, piece of Yoshi. I'm going to read your super chat, but you're upsetting me. Of course, you can also upset me like these people do in the Discord all the time in a loving way like they do. We have all sorts of great options here. You get your diehard membership card. You get a free shirt from the PHNX locker of your choice. You get access to all of our premium content, including our stuff that we just offer in the Discord, Jesse's written content, all of that, so much more. So make sure to join us over here. Become a member of our diehard family, and you can get discounts like the takeover tonight that they had over watching the Mercury. Did the Mercury win? Did we ever get confirmation?
They lost by 4 to the Aces. We're the best team.
Man.
They've played the Aces real tight this year.
That's disappointing. But fun fact, Mercury will be throwing out first pitch tomorrow night at the Arizona Diamondbacks game on Friday night. It's Pride Night. So as you know, every Monday on the show, every month on this show is Pride Night, is Pride Month. And we are in support of all of that. It's going to be, I think it's Brittany Griner is going to be out there. Kalea Copper the name I've absolutely butchered multiple times on this show, and I apologize to her.
But we're the Copper State.
We are the Copper State. I think I called her Cooper at one point, but I also called Jordan Lawler Jordan Walker yesterday. If you start if you start nitpicking about the mistakes I make, you're going to realize it's a full-time job. It's not a part-time gig. It's definitely a full-time job keeping up on me and my mistakes. But again, we thank you guys that are diehards so much for being diehards. Of course, we also wanted to thank Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our numbers and also for being here in the Valley for more than 84 years. Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. They are a team of financial experts who are committed to giving their members and the community helping you achieve your financial goals and offering financial solutions tailored to helping real people achieve their financial dreams. You can look to Desert Financial for checking and savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. When you open a free checking account online right now, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. Well, of course, it's another night of celebrating. It's another night of a wonderful Diamondbacks win, a great night for Four Peaks beer. And I've talked about having cases and cases of the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale on hand at all time. It's something that you should do. It's something that I do because
you know, it's an interesting thing I do with the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale.
What's that?
I buy cases of it and then I bathe in it. That's how good it is.
That's a good move.
That's how much I like it.
Bathing is kind of disgusting, you know, and bathing in beer that you're probably going to drink might be a little gross. But
you don't get out until it's an empty tub.
That's correct. That's correct. That's a fun way to spend a Saturday. Of course, that's also a great way to celebrate an 11-1 victory, by the way. And it's so good it doesn't matter even if it is in a tub of your own filth. It's probably still as delicious as it always is. You can find Bad Birdie right now in taps across the valley, and of course at your favorite grocery store right now. Visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. You can check out at Four Peaks Brewer at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. And when I say please drink responsibly, I mean not out of a bathtub that you're laying in like Damon does. But shout out to Piece of Yoshi for your super chat. We love you, Yoshi. And Yoshi said, spy on our exes over in New York. Yeah, there were some things that happened, including a JD Martinez walk-off home run. I didn't need to see the clip because I felt it in my heart when it happened. I was like, JD must have done something good. That's how it feels when that happens. So, no, we're not. I refuse to. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not spying on my exes tonight. I'm concentrating. Like sometimes you just got to worry about your current relationship. You know what I mean? Sometimes, they're doing things, but I'm also doing things. I got things going on over here, and that's what I'm going to focus on tonight. And of course, I guess my life partner is here. It's the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman. It's the vice mayor. Jesse, welcome. You're looking very bright tonight.
Yeah, we had a bit of a change of plans as far as a post-game show location on my end. Suffice it to say, there are a whole bunch of doors that are mysteriously locked at Chase Field tonight that are not normally locked, that are keeping me from going to the places where I want to go. So we're hanging out in a suite here, Derek, and we're really hoping that someone doesn't walk in and like start vacuuming, which they would be, fully within their rights to do that. But we're gonna see what happens and hope for the best.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, a huge win tonight, Jesse. We talked obviously about it being another one of those nights where the offense just explodes inexplicably. We know that this Angels team isn't very good, so it's not that inexplicable. But what will be more inexplicable is when the offense completely disappears in the series against the White Sox, and we are left once again scratching our heads. But this was a big night. Christian Walker had those 2 home runs and was demanding bourbon and cheeses and meats.
Yeah, he was demanding a lot of bourbons and all of the things tonight. 464 feet, Derek. That was that second
Monster.
homer went a long way.
I couldn't believe watching it. It was a insanely hard hit ball.
I had to ask Derek if he just heard it happen while live in the ballpark, like how that was just in person.
Well, I was telling Damon, even sometimes flyouts can be hit very hard, where when you see it in person, you're like, oh, he hit the hell out of that ball. It didn't go for a home run, but you're like, man, he hit that ball very hard, very high in the air. This one was all of those things, and it left Chase Field, and it looked like it wanted to go out for a drink and some burritos at the Crescent Ballroom.
I actually have story time real quick. I forgot to mention this. I can't believe I forgot to tell you this when you came in. Jacob and I were watching the game at that moment when Christian Walker was up at the plate. There was a guy on first base, and Jacob goes, Damon, what's happening right here in the middle of the at-bat? And I go, double play. All negative, all pessimistic.
Wow.
One pitch, and that ball's on the moon.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I should just start predicting bad shit to happen all the time.
Yeah, it was a crazy night for Christian going yard twice, and that's all the production they needed with the way that they held the Angels to just one run.
Yeah, the offense continues to be kind of bizarrely feast or famine, where you get, of course, 11 runs today. And then yesterday they scored a few runs late, but it looked like Jose Soriano very well might throw a complete game shutout, like pretty late into that game.
Yeah,
that's how good he looked yesterday. And then, of course, the day before that, the Diamondbacks scored 9 runs. In the finale against the Padres, they scored 9 runs. But then the game before that against the Padres, they scored 1, and they scored only 3 before that. So, yeah, it continues to be like either more runs than you probably need or not nearly enough. That's sort of been the story with the offense recently. But I think in the macro picture, the offense has stepped up. I mean, the offense is the reason why the Diamondbacks are managing to stay afloat, despite the fact that their starting rotation has obviously been just so decimated by injuries and so heavily impacted by the guys that they're missing out on. The fact that the offense, has had a decent number of games like this recently has been huge for them.
What did Torey have to say about the offense tonight?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll go to his comments specifically about Christian Walker, because Walker he didn't supply all of the offense for the Diamondbacks, but he kind of supplied all the offense that they really needed in order to win this game with those 4 runs early. Here's what Torey had to say about C-Walk.
He's a very stabilizing personality. It's just who he is at his core. He's a very stable at bat, and he's a very dependable defender. So I think it just fits who he is. It doesn't surprise me that that's what he represents inside of this lineup, because that's what he brings to the clubhouse the minute he walks in there. And it's just a pure swing. If I was going to teach somebody a swing, I would tell them to watch Christian Walker. It's just a really nice, simple approach. There's a high level of intensity. There's a high level of intelligence per at bat, and he's right in the middle of some really important moments. You don't go 30 plus and 100 plus the way he did without having a real good prep and a real good idea of what's going on. And then defensively, you see what he does. He's a run saver out there. He's clearly ahead of the rest of the first basemen in the National League.
There's something else to be said here, Jesse, and that's the fact that home run number 2 off of Christian Walker's bat was hit number 666 of his career, and it happened against the Angels.
Yeah. Look at you,
there's a lot of biblical implications there.
Yeah, this was Christian Walker, as you heard Torey describe there, is just such an important part of this team. And the question that I continue to have running in the back of my head is, how would the Diamondbacks cope without him next season, right? I mean, he is an impending free agent. That's sort of the ugly reality for them. And his cost is not going down, Derek, with the season that he's having. I mean, he's continuing to put up the numbers defensively. Offensively, his numbers had slipped in the last couple of weeks a little bit, but you have a 2-homer game, and suddenly the OPS is back over 800. And especially given the offense around the league this year, and the fact that I think the league average OPS right now is like 700, maybe a tick under 700. Offense is sort of down across the league. You have to kind of adjust your sights. Like an OPS in the low mid 800s is really, really very good at this point in the season. So he continues to do it on both sides of the ball. And I continue to be thinking about how important it feels like it is for the Diamondbacks to keep him here, not just this year, but in the years to come.
In the words of KGB from the movie Rounders, pay him. Pay that man his money, because we need him. I mean, and again, that's a lot of times you just worry about the offense, but Jesse, we see Christian Walker do something spectacular defensively, I feel like, every single night. We know, especially over the last, week or two, that there were a couple of plays that Christian Walker might have saved the game. for the Diamondbacks. So definitely feels like he's a huge part, a very important part of this team.
He's enormous, yeah. And we talked to Joc after the game. We talked to Walker himself. Yeah, I guess let's roll what Joc had to say. He talked about his grand slam, of course, which was a big moment in this game. But he also
whose bat was he using?
Yeah, well, you're about to hear that. I think you might already know, but Joc talks about that as well. Here's what he had to say.
What were you using that? Christian Walker.
Were you really?
We got 3 homers with the walk bat.
The same exact bat?
No, different model, but yeah, his name was on it.
Is that the first time you've used his bat before?
No, I've used it a couple times.
Is it heavier, lighter, longer, anything?
34, 31. Pretty standard.
What does he mean to this clubhouse and this team?
The consistency is incredible. Posts every day at first base, posts in the middle, great defense, great at bats, all around great teammate, just a huge component you can build around.
Is there anything you are not aware of about him as a player or person?
No, I mean, I think when you play 19 times for someone for 6 years, you kind of have a good idea. He's got the gold on the glove, 30 plus homers multiple years. So, like I said, he's a franchise caliber player that you build around.
I've really come to love Joc Pederson. I really mean that. I think that you and I were having a discussion today about just certain parts of his personality. His dad's side, his parental side to his children. I know you're doing some great work in regards to something special for Father's Day, but we also had his, I know I've seen clips of him and his brother, and I just the more I see of Joc, the more I kind of respect that he just kind of lives life in a way where he just doesn't seem to give a shit about what other people think. And he seems to be a very genuine, very cool guy. You know what I mean? I really like Joc, and I think that, he's brought more to this team than I thought that he was necessarily going to.
Yeah, I mean, another thing about Joc that stands out to me from a few weeks ago is just the kind of the different approach that he takes to hitting, where it feels like the Diamondbacks have a lot of grinder types who are, if anything, they're going to err on the side of taking too many reps and doing a little bit too much preparation and maybe doing some damage to themselves in the process even.
Sure.
And Joc is sort of on the other side of things where, his philosophy from what we heard a few weeks ago is the more hits you or the more swings you take, the harder it gets. You can actually make things more difficult on yourself by kind of overthinking things or doing a little bit too much work before games. So
sure.
It sounds like he's really brought a lot of balance to the Diamondbacks clubhouse in that way.
Well, and that's wild. And that's also a great theory, by the way, when he says that, Christian hit 3 home runs in a row, so you want to be using that man's bat. That's a very intelligent move to make. I just love the fact that Joc uses bats like golfers use clubs. I imagine Joc going out there and be like, what do we got today? And having one of the coaches, Banny's behind him. He's like, I think you need to hit this one 464. I think you got a grand slam here. And, he's like, all right, give me Christian's bat. Yeah, I take that one.
I love the idea of him having a caddy.
Yeah, right.
Someone just dressed up in a white caddy suit.
Yes. Yeah. Just following him around, carrying his bag of bats so that he has them near him so he can pick which one situationally he needs.
Yeah, we also have Christian Walker. Here is him talking about not only the 2 homers that he hit in this game, but of course also the fact that Joc Pederson was using his bat tonight.
Yeah, felt great. Felt really good to come through for the team early. You get a chance with a couple guys on to be able to make that count in the first is big. Canning's good. He's the fastball's electric. He's got plus secondary. He made a good pitch on the first homer, just happened to get to it, got the barrel inside of it. Been working on handling fastballs better. I feel like I've been missing fastballs straight back a little bit, and it's been bothering me. So priority the last few days in pregame work to get back on the heater. So it was nice to see that show up. And then, the breaking ball, that whole at bat was soft. Slider, changeup, slider. I wasn't sitting on it, but still on the heater, but aware that it seemed like he was going to try to get me out with something else. And he has good secondary, so I had to respect that. And just spun one that hung over the middle. Was in a spot to handle it.
I was about to say 464 feet. Is that about as far as you can hit them?
Yeah. That's that might be all I got. That's maxed out for sure.
Joc said that he was using your bat, or at least a model of your bat. I guess that's just business as usual with him on your team.
Yeah, that guy. The only bats he doesn't use are his own bats. He's a bat guy. I like it. We're always talking models. We're always messing around with stuff. When I'm in between two models, I go to him and tell him, make him tell me which one has got the hits in it. But no, that was an awesome swing. I had a cool perspective from the on deck circle there. It was driven straight out from where I was standing. So that sweeper came in. He did a great job of staying back and coming through for us. That things like that break it open, change the game big time.
Damon made a great point. Have you ever seen Christian Walker smile that big? I think the only time was when he made that play where he tagged Soler on the head and then was showing Joc on the tablet about his play afterwards. Like, look at how good I did.
What a budding bromance we got
they
going
really
on
do
there.
have a budding bromance there. The fact you said that Joc uses everyone's bats except his own got a sincere LOL out of me. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I will say, in Christian's defense, the iPad moment from I don't know, was that like maybe a week or two ago?
Yeah.
I believe he had said after that game that he hadn't actually seen the play yet. At least that's what he said. So if we're taking him at his word, he must have been showing Joc something else on the iPad. I'm not
I don't
sure
believe
exactly
him. I don't believe him.
What they were doing, but
yeah.
You can just tell like Christian Walker has clearly embraced Joc Pederson as a teammate, has a lot of respect for him, and is very down to take his advice both when it comes to hitting and also about bats. It sounds like Joc has developed into sort of the bat whisperer, I suppose, in the Diamondbacks clubhouse. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Well, our guy Cam Cox got a chance to go see all of his bats. That's a great video that he did. It was very interesting to me to see the collection that Joc has. I also I love the idea of him being like, let's give me the Soler. That's just amazing. But the Diamondbacks did do a great job tonight, obviously, at scoring runs. A lot of those came from those two guys. 5 RBIs from Joc and 4 from Christian. But what was Torey discussing in regards to, this offense and the way that they can just be so hot and cold?
Yeah, we didn't really touch on that in particular. I imagine that might come up before the game tomorrow, because it is definitely a storyline with this team. The offense has been not bad by any means on the whole, but inconsistent, I think, is a pretty fair way to describe what's happening right now.
Yes.
But yeah, Torey was asked about the comment that he made after the finale of the San Diego series, which I think surprised some of us at the time. He called that finale a mid-season must win.
Yeah.
He put it in that category, which really anytime you don't really hear managers or players talk about, they don't really use the phrase must win to describe any game up until like the last week or two of the season. Like
right.
Baseball players and coaches are just so programmed, so familiar with just playing it day by day and never wanting to put too much pressure on themselves to win that day, but just, doing everything they can and living with the results and moving on. We hear all these things all the time. But Torey didn't really say that after that Sunday game against the Padres. He was like, this was a really important game for us, given how they were coming off a couple of blowout losses in that case. And Torey didn't use the phrase must win to describe this one, but he did say it was really important. The Diamondbacks are, of course, they're trying to claw their way back to 500, eventually maybe get over 500. Torey was asked today, you've talked about how you don't want to just hold serve. You want to do more than that. But what is sort of your measurement there? Is there a certain record you would like to have by the time some of the starters come back or whatnot? And Torey just said being over 500 is a good starting point. And they're not there yet, but they're getting a little bit closer. Of course, 3 games under 500 as of the end of the game today.
Well, Torey did comment on playing in another blowout, and I mean, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, well, this is something that I noticed after this game was that it has now been a week since the Diamondbacks have played a game that was decided by fewer than 5 runs, which is actually outrageous. I mean, you think back to the last few days, right? Yesterday was an 8-3 loss. The day before that was a 9-4 win.
9-4.
The last 3 games of the Padres series were all big deficits or all big margins as well. The D-backs won a game in San Diego by 1 run a week ago today. But since that game, literally every game they've played has been decided by 5 runs or more. So yeah, I asked Torey, like, how do you feel about playing so many games with just these bizarrely enormous margins? And here's what Torey had to say.
Yeah, I like when we're on the right side of it and we're ahead for sure. It gives me a little stress when we don't, a little anxiety when we don't use certain guys. Like Paul Sewald had gone 7 days without throwing, so that gives me a very uneasy feeling. So. And then I get to pick and choose my times. But yeah, I like a good ball game. I like a 2-1 game where you just got to grind it out. And the best team who wins the margin, or the team that wins the margin is going to be the best team that night. So that's kind of what we do here. But yeah, I like was it 10-1 today? Yeah, I like 11-1. I like 11-1 wins for sure.
It's funny because I think that when you are winning those games, you're playing in those close games that Torey's describing, it also means that your pitching is doing much better than the Diamondbacks pitching is doing right now, right? We sent out that tweet yesterday about what the starting rotation's current ERA is for all of these guys, and things don't look great for this team as far as the starting rotation is concerned. Bullpen looks solid. Got 3 guys with a sub-1, but you look at what they have going on with the starting rotation and things don't look so great. For Torey, I imagine close games means at the very least that you're playing Diamondbacks baseball and it's giving you a chance to win based on the fact that this team does play good defense, does get those extra runs at times based on using their legs and based on manufacturing runs. And I think that's more in their wheelhouse than these 10-run victories, even though these are great.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the Diamondbacks team that I think we anticipated coming into the year, right? They didn't exactly come with the reputation of like, oh, this is a team that's gonna, like, they're just gonna score 14 runs every now and then, and there's nothing you can do about it. And especially on the pitching side, we certainly didn't expect the Diamondbacks to be the kind of team that would be, liable to allow upwards of 10 runs in a game on a fairly regular basis. Like we've seen that at this point for really a month, even more than a month, I think, where these kind of large deficits, opposing teams scoring a whole bunch of runs. This has been kind of a way of life for the Diamondbacks in the last few weeks. And a lot of that, of course, goes back to the starting pitching. It's the fact that you have a rotation right now that consists of 4 guys with ERAs of well over 5, and Brandon Pfaadt, who's just kind of the de facto ace of this Diamondbacks team at this point. He has a 4.38 ERA after his game today. He was very good tonight for the Diamondbacks for sure. But yeah, this is just sort of how things are for this team right now. Like the offense has to carry a big load, and not every night, but a decent number of nights over these last few weeks, the offense has come up and very much done that.
Well, the Diamondbacks now move on to take on a Chicago White Sox team, Jesse, that just lost 3 out of 4 to the Mariners. They did win tonight in 10 innings, but again, another series where the Diamondbacks hopefully should be able to keep things rolling. And honestly, now is a great time. Like they have a really good opportunity with this ragtag starting rotation and this group of guys that have kind of had to do the thing without some of their biggest arms, right? And some portions of their starting lineup as well. But they've kind of had to hold the line here, and they've had to, as Torey said today, hold the line. That we should have just named this episode "Hold the Line." But I mean, they might. We were hoping, like, can they hover around 500? Can they stay close? there's a good chance that if they can kind of catch fire here and play well against the good teams beyond these next two series, that this team might even have a plus 500 record by the time the All-Star break rolls around. And that would be such a huge accomplishment for Torey Lovullo and this group to get to that point, to get Zach Gallen back, to get Merrill Kelly back, and to have a team that somehow miraculously has a plus 500 record.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be tough. Like being over 500 by the All-Star break is no small task. You do have that series with the White Sox this weekend, where figure the D-backs can maybe pick up some more ground there. But then you have a Nationals team that's not great, but a Nationals team that's decent. That's not an easy series, I wouldn't say, although a manageable one. You got the Phillies for 3 games after that. That's a tough series. The Twins for 3 games, another pretty good team there. The Oakland A's to round out the month of June. Obviously not a great team there. They're better than they were last season, but there would be an opportunity in that series. But then going into the All-Star break, I mean, it's Dodgers, Padres, Braves, and Blue Jays. And none of those series are going to be easy for the Diamondbacks by any means. So I don't even know if, getting over 500 by the All-Star break, like that actually seems like a pretty bullish goal for the Diamondbacks.
Well, the Blue Jays aren't playing great right now, right? The Oakland A's are the
True.
Oakland A's. The Braves aren't playing great baseball right now. The Diamondbacks got swept by the Braves, but remember, they shouldn't have. Like, the Diamondbacks, all things considered, should have taken 2 out of 3 instead of being swept, but that's not what happened. That's not the timeline we live in. We live in the darkest timeline where they got swept and lost all sorts of games early on in a spectacular comeback fashion, allowing their opposition to come back from the Diamondbacks having a fairly substantial lead in a lot of those games. So this team feels different now. Like, they don't feel like, again, I think we're past that point where they were trying to play perfect baseball, where they were trying to somehow replicate what they did last year. They just are going out there and they're trying to do their job every night. I think their head is out. I think they're out of their own heads a little more, and I think that's why we're seeing the better results. But also, Geraldo Perdomo being back seems like a huge help. Jesse, I can't tell you, even though the guy wasn't in the lineup tonight, feels like you didn't even know it because he's in the background of every picture. He's catching Marv's first pitch. He's just out there. Like, at one point, I just saw him out there introducing himself to every Cardinals player. And I don't know if I saw any other Diamondbacks player do that. I could be wrong because I did see them mingling. I saw Torey saying hi to a lot of guys and such and introducing himself. But I saw Geraldo Perdomo do the thing that we do in the pro wrestling business, Jesse, which it's this weird thing where when you come in before a show, you have to find every person that's there and shake their hand. And it's just kind of like a thing. And like, that was like what Geraldo Perdomo was doing. He was making sure that he found every member of the Cardinals that was there and introduced himself to them and shook their hand. And that was amazing to me, especially considering this is a guy that kind of had the night off.
I kind of see Jerry as a guy who's like, I have an opportunity to make 13 new best friends. And that's kind of how he approached the situation, That's
he absolutely did.
That's just the vibes that he has.
Yeah, I mean, the D-backs they're 6-4 in the Geraldo Perdomo era of 2024 Diamondbacks baseball, right? They're 6-4 when he's been healthy.
Coincidence?
Who's to say? I think that would make them 27-32 when he's not out there. So the numbers don't lie, Derek. I guess that's
the numbers don't lie. That's a great transition into this next thing we're going to do, Jesse, because I'm a liar and Damon constantly lies. And you know what? Perdomo probably never lies. He's probably never told a lie in his life, but the numbers, they also don't lie. So let's take a look at Jesse's number for tonight. Jesse, what do you got for us?
It's 1,319, I believe. Yeah, there it is. 1,319.
That's a lot.
This is how many feet of home run that Christian Walker has hit over the last couple of nights. He hit a home run late in the game last night that might have been sort of overlooked, understandably so. It turned an 8-0 game into an 8-1 game at the time. D-backs scratched across a couple more runs on a Cattell homer to before that game ended. But yeah, that shot yesterday, I believe, was 451. So that was not a cheap home run by any means. His first homer today was 404. Not the longest home run, but it was down the line, so it looked a lot longer than it probably was. And then, of course, his final home run in that third inning today was 464 feet, which I believe is the third longest home run that Christian Walker has hit in his career, and also the longest home run that we have had this season at Chase Field. So yeah, that's a lot of dinger. That is a lot of long ball. Christian Walker has been doing the thing for the Diamondbacks. He's a cleanup hitter for a reason, and he's certainly looked it here over the last 24 hours.
Well, we will be back tomorrow with another episode of this show, another post-game episode after that first game with the Chicago White Sox. So make sure before you leave, you hold the line and you hit the like. That's something you have to do. Of course,
we have HTL by the like button.
It's hit the like, Jesse. Hit the like.
Hit the like. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Hit the like.
Makes sense.
Of course, he is Jesse Friedman. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at @cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, Damon is still and always will be the people's producer. You can follow him at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's Dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for your time tonight. We will see you tomorrow night for another post-game show. And until then, we hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful Friday. We appreciate your time so much. Thank you for being fans of this team, fellow Snake aficionados. Again, we'll see you tomorrow. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you hold the line.
We all silly like the mayor.